At the beginning of this part, we see that protagonist thinks the potential to become a hunter. The Awakener test uses state-of-the-art technology to analyze your physical capability potential. However, there is one thing that the test cannot determine, and that is skills. Normally, an Awakener can only speculate what their skills are or how to use them, but not me, because I have the all-seeing eye. After that, we see our protagonist is looking at his skill window. My full bloom is back to rank E, as expected. He has 3 skills. First, Arcane Weapon Transmutation rank A. Second, All-Seeing Eyes discern the target's essence rank B, S+. Third, Full Bloom not activated. He closes the skill window and thinks, skills can be leveled up, and I can always earn my perks again. He gets up and tells, what's important for me right now? I am getting adjusted to my current body and skills. He checks his own muscles and thinks, pretty pathetic. His parents are arguing, saying, that's why I'm saying we should watch him for a year. Father says, it's his life. He should be allowed to do whatever he wants with it. Mother replies, he's only in middle school. We can't allow him to have free reign. That would be irresponsible. Father tells, that's why I'm saying we should only give him a year. It's just 1 year. It doesn't work out, he can move on, right? He is watching them from a slightly open door. Mother asks, do you realize how important even 1 year is at his age? What will you do if Changhyun wasted his time pursuing a fruitless dream, while all his classmates get good grades because they spent their time studying? Protagonist thinks, my mom was totally against me becoming a hunter, but I can't afford to waste time arguing with her. His mother says, so many things can change in just a year. He is really surprised to hear that and thinks, she's right. In 1 year, players can compete in dozens of matches. Players gain experience and improve their skills through every match. In my previous life, my full bloom would have been at least rank B if I had started a year earlier. That alone would have made a big difference in how things turned out. Changhyun opens the door and enters the room saying, I don't need a year. Just give me 6 months. I'll prove it to you within 6 months, Mom. I'm serious. I'll show you. After that, we see he is at some kind of training ground and asks, what? I can't go in. Receptionist tells him that the minors require guardian approval to enter. Changhyun asks, I need a signature from a guardian? Is that correct? She replies, yes, it is. He thinks, I totally forgot about this because I was an adult in my previous life. I won't be able to get any practice done if I go home right now. He asks, is there any other way? Someone appears behind him. He says hi to him and asks, what brought you here? Changhyun sees him and thinks, Dojin Kim. In my past life, he was a close-range fighter who consistently placed rank 2 or 3 in the first division. He never secured the top spot, but was often likened to the top-ranked player as long as he performed all right. Frankly speaking, he had it easy. But of course, Changhyun asks, who are you? In this life, I'm not supposed to know who he is. Dojin tells him that I'm in the class next to yours. My name's Dojin. Doesn't it ring a bell? I'm quite well known in our school for being an awakener. Changhyun replies, right, first time I've heard of you. Dojin is shocked. Dojo smiles and scratches his hand. He says, yeah, that can happen. So anyway, what are you doing here? Are you auditioning for Soul Hunter Academy's youth club? Changhyun replies, no, I wanted to use the training facility, but they said I needed my parents' permission. Dojin asks, oh, do you want my help? I'm a member of the Academy's youth club, so I have free access. Changhyun thinks, oh, so he was part of a club at this point. But I want to watch you practice in return. Changhyun thinks nothing is ever free, I guess. He says, sure. He thinks, it's a little annoying, but I don't have anything to lose. Receptionist, all right, I've made a reservation for you with Soul Hunter Academy's Mr. Dojin as your guardian. Please head to room 3. Dojin tells him that, I didn't think there'd be anyone in our school who wants to become a hunter. Changhyun asks, me? Dojin replies, yeah. Like I said earlier, I'm in AN Academy Club. But because most of the members are other than me and I don't know anyone, it's been hard to fit in. So, why did you come here? You said you're not taking the test, despite its name. No one seems to use this place for training. Changhyun replies, probably not, since they're all preparing for the Hunters League. This is a general-purpose facility, after all. You sure you want to stay? I'm just going to test out my skills and get some exercise done, so it won't be particularly exciting. Well, I could lend a hand if you'd like, since we go to the same school and all. Changhyun thinks, still an attention seeker even in this life. I see. If I include my past life, I'm decades older than him. I'm obviously not going to ask him for help. After that, we see a system window appear saying, "Setting complete, would you like to proceed?" He presses confirm. Changhyun sees the clone and thinks, that's the tanker clone that I summoned. If you were to draw a comparison to video games, I suppose they'd be something like training dummies. The only difference is, it's so steady that it's almost impossible to even leave a scratch. Clone summons a shield, a really powerful-looking shield. Tanker's clone, defense, unknown. Dojin sees that and asks, Changhyun, did you press the wrong button? You should summon a regular clone if you're looking to practice. Even in practice mode, it'll be really difficult to make any dent at your current level. Changhyun asks, what are you talking about? Punching bags are supposed to be tough. He summons a weapon. Changhyun gets ready to fight. He smirks and says, difficult to make a dent? Huh? Speak for yourself. Changhyun thinks, to overcome something tough and robust, striking it with something even harder and stronger is the easiest approach. Obviously, I'm not currently able to do that, but that doesn't mean I have no other options. I need to target its joints. Changhyun dodges the clone's attack and hits it on the shoulder with a powerful attack. Clone loses one of its arms. Changhyun thinks, all right, I have good control over my body. And now, all-seeing eyes. A red magic circle appears on his eyes. He sees the weak points of the clone. Changhyun starts to attack on the weak points. Clone falls on the ground and disappears. Changhyun thinks, I didn't think it'd go that well. I should have recorded it. Dojin is surprised and says, whoa, nice one. I'm guessing you must have set its defense stats to the lowest. You would have needed a unique weapon to deal any damage to it otherwise. Changhyun thinks, he twisting what he saw because he couldn't make sense of it? Dojin claps and tells him, still you had some impressive moves. I bet you'd pass the audition. Have you trained in sword fighting, I guess? I want to also give it a go. Before our team training session later, Changhyun starts to walk and tells him to go ahead. He thinks, I don't need to explain anything to him. He'll see for himself when he tries it out. After that at night, Dojin is still fighting the clone, and he is really tired and breathing heavily. He thinks, I swear he did it like this. I set its defense to the lowest too. So why? Isn't the clone taking any damage? After a while is still fighting against clones. He wipes the sweat and thinks, I must have configured something wrong. Someone gets there and says, hey, Dojin, are you not going to greet your seniors? Dojin bows his head and says, Jisoo, it's good to see you. Jisoo comes toward him and asks, why are you hitting a tanker clone? Dojin replies, I was just warming up and getting some practice done. Jisoo asks, who the hell practices on a tanker clone to warm up? Jisoo pushes Dojin with a finger and says, you won't be able to make a dent even at the lowest defense settings. Don't be silly. Dojin grit with frustration. Then we see that Changhyun is on a ship and thinks, I'm too weak. The General Purpose Hunter Center offers basic training facilities for hunters. After Dojin left, I had the chance to try out the monsters encountered in the Hunters League, or the AI Hunter hologram feature, which acts as a sparring partner. And I've come to the conclusion that I'm far too weak. My all-seeing eye is only at rank B, so I can't even deliver a powerful strike. My physical stats are only slightly higher than an average civilian who's in good shape. I need to work on my physique if I want more power. At least my full bloom is boosting my recovery speed. I can only overcome this by training, but I don't have enough time, since the Hunter Center is only available to club members in the evening. And it's not like I can get permission from my parents every time I want to train. Maybe I need to find somewhere else that I can train alone. He gets a call from Dojin Kim. He says, hello? Dojin asks, are you coming to train? Changhyun asks, why? Dojin says, I'll buy you dinner. Wanna come? He gets the best hangover soup. Dojin says, hey, over here. Changhyun says, you must have a lot of money. Dojin tell, too much. Really? Becoming a hunter isn't feasible if your family isn't well off, as you're aware. Changhyun says, yeah, it's true. He thinks, the Awakener test and the price of weapons are extremely costly. Even so, too much money? He's exactly the same as he was in my past life. He always did whatever he could to get in the spotlight. Changhyun says, so? Why do you ask me to come? Dojin asks, what do you mean? He replies, I'm sure you're not treating me to dinner because you thought I couldn't afford it myself. Dojin says, you're right. The dinner's just an excuse. I wanted to ask you a question. Changhyun asks, is it about the tanker clone? Dojin says, I tried to do it exactly the same way you do, but it didn't work. So I was wondering if you configured something differently. Someone enters the restaurant and Dojin gets scared and stops talking. Changhyun turns around to see who it is. He sees them and thinks, they're wearing the same uniform as Dojin. Are they his teammates? Jisoo is saying so, as I was saying that absolute baboon. He was hitting a tanker clone with a mithril sword. Jisoo's friend asks, was he testing out the sturdiness of his sword? He replies, nope. He was genuinely trying to break the tanker clone with it. I was at a loss for words, you know? And it was so loud. So I asked him why he was doing that, and apparently he saw his friend do it. Yeah, right? Maybe I should have asked him if his friend shot laser beams out of his forehead. Must have been fun watching two fools go at it. Unfortunately, his friend wasn't there. Changhyun thinks, so basically, he was being a nuisance while Dojin was working hard. Can't let that pass. Changhyun says, the configuration for the tanker clone? Nope, you don't need to change anything. It's easy as long as you know the trick to it. Still, good for you for trying to figure it out. Just because they're incapable of doing it. Jisoo gets really angry. Changhyun asks, does no one in your academy know how to do it? Did your friend over there pay his way in? Dojin says, Changhyun, don't say that. Jisoo gets to them and says, keep it shut, Dojin. Changhyun, was it? Who do you think you are, disrespecting an academy student? If an awakener like me were to hit you, there wouldn't be much of you left. He puts his feet on the table. Jisoo says, I'll give you just 3 seconds. You better make things right. Changhyun thinks, why is he talking like that? Sounds straight out of a cliché movie. And I was looking forward to the free dinner. Changhyun gets up and punches Jisoo. Changhyun thinks, if someone gives me 3 seconds, that's what I'm gonna do. I'll never turn down an opportunity to strike first. Jisoo is really angry. Changhyun says, look, you might be a senior to Dojin, but to me, you're just a stranger. So don't mess with me. Jisoo gets up and says, what was that? Jisoo swings his punch, but Changhyun easily dodges it. Changhyun asks, what did you say earlier? There won't be much of me left if you hit me? Too bad, that's a big if. Changhyun easily blocks Jisoo punches and punch him in the face. Jisoo says, you've really done it now. Changhyun thinks, my all-seeing eye is giving me a warning. Warning says, able to sense danger or pinpoint weaknesses. Changhyun jumps and dodges the attack. Changhyun thinks, a gravity attack? Is he actually going to use a skill here? There are civilians around us. Jisoo throws tables and chairs at Changhyun using gravity magic. Changhyun easily dodges. Changhyun thinks, I wasn't going to go too hard on him, but Changhyun tells, hey, Jisoo, you're dead. Jisoo says, that's my line. Jisoo attacks Changhyun. Changhyun easily dodges his attack. He thinks, I can dodge his skill thanks to my all-seeing eye, but I can't close the distance. All right, fine. He picks up a plate. Throw it at him. Jisoo stops the plate. Did you really think that'd work against me? Changhyun keeps throwing plates at Jisoo. He says, you should have dodged. Changhyun thinks, when you use a skill you must wait before you can use it again. This is known as the skill going on cooldown. Jisoo says, holy. Changhyun thinks, but use your skill without thinking about the cooldown. One more coming your way. Jisoo thinks, crap, I can't use my skill. He gets hit by the plate on the face. He thinks, you'll be left completely open to enemy attacks. Jisoo says, enough with your tricks. Changhyun disappears. Jisoo says, where the hell did he go? He looks around. Changhyun punches him in the stomach. Jisoo says, you said head. He shouts head again. Jisoo says, again? He thinks, where will he hit this time? Is it going to be my stomach again? He keeps shouting heads. Heads. He keeps hitting him in different spots. Changhyun beats him up. The whole restaurant is a mess. He thinks, what now? I'm not the one that wrecked the place, but I did hit him first, and he's the one on the ground, while I'm unscathed. Dojin and this guy's friends are gone, too. What should I do? Crap, it's the police. Guess I have no other choice. He throws water at Jisoo. Changhyun lays down. Jisoo is confused. He grabs Changhyun and about to punch him. Dojin brings the police officer over and says, "Over here." Changhyun is acting scared and says, "Stop. Please don't hurt me anymore." Police officer says, "Hands in the air. Do not resist." Jisoo smirk. He thinks, it seems that I successfully received the police with my performance, because I was spared any legal repercussions. Jisoo probably didn't tell the truth either, because he didn't want to admit he was defeated by a rookie. But even if he did, it was clear that he had used his gravity skill, which would have made him more liable either way. Dojin says, "Jisoo? Yeah, it's been rough for him recently. He got an earful from the other team members, and there are rumors that he might get kicked out." Changhyun nods and thinks, looks like justice prevailed. Dojin asks, "Are you not going to take a break?" Changhyun summons another clone and replies, "I don't have time for breaks." Changhyun wipes out sweets and smirks. He thinks, "My full bloom gives me an awakened talent when I accomplish a notable feat." A skill window appears saying, "Rank E full bloom. Not activated. Awaken your talent once activated. Full bloom's rank progression will halt, but all your stats will increase proportionate to its rank." He thinks, in other words, I gain a new skill. He starts to fight against the clone. Skill window appears saying, "Full bloom awakened talent. Calling your attacks. When you announce the name of your skill or declare where you will hit before striking, your power increases. Your words do not need to correspond with your actions." Dojin is shocked. Changhyun thinks, I didn't think what I did to Jisoo would be considered a feat. I never saw this skill before in my past life. A perfect skill to make people think I'm weird. His parents asks, "You're going to try out for a hunter audition survival show?" Changhyun replies, "Yes. Just watch. I'll prove myself to you too." He thinks, Hunters, the next generation, a television show dedicated to discovering and mentoring up and coming hunters. Finally, it's up for registration. His mom asks, "But won't it be super competitive if it's a TV show?" His father says, "Leave him be. You can't ever succeed if you never take a chance." His mom asks his father, "Oh, is that why you ruined your business? Because you took a chance?" His father replies, "Do you really have to bring that up?" Changhyun says, "If I win the competition, I'll earn a spot in the academy, or even get to choose a Division 3 team to join. On top of that, the cash prize is pretty big, and they'll even make me a custom weapon." His mom asks, "Right? I'm sure they will. Since it's so competitive, I'm going to do my best." His mom says, "All right, but don't come crying to me if you fail, all right?" He thinks, it's definitely a very competitive show, since they're selecting the most promising candidate for the Hunters League from all across the nation. But because of that, there are significant incentives for the top performers, even if they don't come first. Whatever the case, they're only picking the best out of a bunch of amateurs. Don't worry, Mom and Dad. I've held countless trophies in my hands. I won't lose to amateurs. After that, we see Hunters, the Next Generation Written Test Part 3, 3 Minutes Clones Time Trial. He has defeated a lot of clones with guns. He passes the test. After that, we see some instructor says, the application should be coming in soon. Judge Era says, "Minsik, I remember you once said you had no intention of becoming a judge. What changed your mind?" Judge Minsik says, "You never know. There could be a hidden Jin among the contestants." Judge Suyak says, "If there were someone like that, I'm sure they'd be competing in the pro leagues already." The Academy always makes sure to butter up to fresh talents, and therein lies the issue. You see, it's the eccentric ones, those who can truly excel with the right guidance, who harbor true potential. Minsik tells that again, with the eccentric ones? Minsik, what those kids need is someone to take care of them, not the league. You're only saying that because you've never met Ethan. Now that's true talent. They say, sure, do whatever you want. Everyone's vote counts the same anyway. After that, we see Changhyun thinks, seeking the next star to forge the future of the Hunters League. Right, that sounds good and all. But the first round is a written test? Seriously? They say the first round will take place in written form. Please fill in the blanks and submit the document. Age, height, stats, and even affiliation. But the Academy students love this part. Detail your previous occupation before pursuing a career as a hunter. Explain the challenges you faced and how you overcame them. He thinks, I haven't exactly faced many challenges in this life yet. Next question. Describe the difficulties you faced in a group setting and how you resolved them. In a group setting? In my previous life, I made my teammates obey me no matter what. This could be bad. I figured it'd be a breeze once I got in, but I didn't expect to face this hurdle. If there's a practical test, I can make up for it through that. He thinks, what's this? He sees that, for the third part, please click here. He thinks, what's this? An awakener's skill is usually shaped by their experiences or unique traits. He gets teleported to a room. He thinks, so how the heck does someone get a skill like this? Is this a teleportation skill? An illusion? System says, this part of the test involves a practical aspect. You will engage in the 3-minute Clowns Challenger, where you must demonstrate your skill by defeating waves of clones challenge, where you must demonstrate your skill by defeating waves of clones for 3 minutes. Your weapon will take shape based on your imagination. He asks, weapon? He summons the gun. A practical test? Count me in. He thinks, I decided on dual pistols, which were my go-to choice with my arcane weapon transmutation, but I'm guessing they don't work with skills. System says, the test shall now commence if you are ready. Begin. He thinks, it doesn't look like they have high defense stats like the tanker's clones. He starts to shoot and thinks, I'll go as fast as I can. Are you kidding me? Judge Era says, Suyak, don't you also think this is a mistake? Right, you could see it as a little problematic. This isn't what we had in mind when we made this test. Anyone could take those clones down if they're given a gun. This is cheating. Not to mention, take a look at his application. This is unacceptable. He's not taking this seriously at all. Don't you see a problem with these answers? Era has a point. Judge Minseek says, right? After all, guns aren't exactly viable weapons for hunters. They're practically unfeasible in the league, and they're also difficult to use against monsters. Once a weapon separates from an awakener's body, the mana it holds dissipates, which means for firearms, you must channel each and every pull with mana, an incredibly challenging task. It's also difficult to store a lot of mana in them. That's why most people use swords or polearms. Sometimes you'll see ranged weapons, but only those with a slow rate of fire like bows or crossbows. Shooting a volley of bullets with massive quantities of mana is only possible for someone like Ethan, but I gotta say, he piques my interest. Era says, Minseek. Shyok says, I feel the same way. Era says, you too, Shyok? You could argue the applicant demonstrated keen insight by identifying a loophole in the rules. Intentional or not, the end result is what truly matters. Minseek says, yep, Suyak is right. Besides, this isn't the final selection round. We can always disqualify him later if he doesn't meet our standards. Shyok tells, but I also think he might have a different perspective on guns compared to us. Era asks, how, exactly? He replies, who knows? He thinks, perhaps he sees guns as viable weapons in the Hunters League. No, that's impossible. Maybe I'll try using just one this time. But I hope he proves me wrong. So that's what happened to Jisoo? Dojin says, yes. Luckily, my friend wasn't hurt that badly. Strange. Jisoo's hand-to-hand combat might not be that great, but his skill is still incredibly powerful. And yet, the kid wasn't hurt that badly? Jisoo was beaten to a pulp. He says, well, all right. What's done is done. Let's talk about you. So you applied for the Hunters League rookie show? Dojin, yes. I wanted to let you know because I'll probably be tied up with the show's filming for a while. Shyok asks, so, that boy that got in a fight with Jisoo, Changhyun, was it? Did he also apply? Dojin says, I don't know. I'll ask him the next time I see him. He says, all right. I'm sure you're busy preparing for the show. You should get going. Dojin replies, yes, coach. Goodbye. He thinks, things are getting interesting. Jisoo is also going to be in the show. I'm looking forward to this. The first part of the Return of the Genius player ends here. If you want to see more, please subscribe and like. And if you want to support me financially, you can join my channel membership or Patreon only for $1. Patreon and Discord links are in the description if you want to support me. And a special thanks to all my Patreons for supporting me. Thanks for watching.